I'm Dennis Reardon, President of Monunketuck, and thanks everybody for joining us. Barbara, take it away.
Okay. So, well, thank you for joining me and being patient. This is obviously my follow-up to the talk that I think most of you saw in April, about a month or so ago, and I didn't have any live possums, but I got a litter of 10 about a week ago. So I want to give a little shout out to Mike and CJ. They're watching and they're here to see their, they rescued them. So I believe they were from Mystic. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but so the mother obviously was dead. And I think they were starting to crawl around and they found them all. And they found 10. And so you may recall, or does anyone recall what the maximum number of possums is for a litter?
13.
Yay, 13. So 10's a pretty good number. And you're dying to see them. Anyway, right, I'm gonna check them out. But here's a little nest box.
Oh, they're so cute.
And they're all in there, all 10, believe it or not. And I'm gonna take them out, and I have another container that's easier to see. So, but they are about hamster size. They're up here. So here's one.
Oh, so cute.
Kind of cute.
How old are they?
About 2.5 months, maybe a little more. They're going on 3 months. And their eyes opened about two or so weeks ago. So they're nice and their eyes start looking kind of bulgy, and that's a good thing. Means they're nice and hydrated, and their little, see their little tail strips. See that?
Oh, prehensile. That's so
Yeah,
cute.
prehensile tail. And someone was asking, am I going to put them on my head? Because in the past, I've had babies and I put them on me, and it's kind of funny. And I look kind of like an idiot, but the reason I probably won't do that today is because these guys are kind of wild. I only got them a week ago. And so here, we're gonna get another guy. So they don't like me. They don't think of me as mom. And what might happen if I put one clinging to my hair, they might jump off and fall on the floor. So let me just start putting these in the container. And because I want to show all of them. You know, they're all the star of the show. There's number 3.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See how they grip? And there's their little, let's see. There's their,
thumb.
what do you call it, opposable thumb in the back. It looks like a little hand. This is, in case you're interested. The boy, there's a little bump right there, so that's how you can tell. And they're getting kind of furry, so there's not much to show you. You can kind of see their, I gotta wash my hand. They might poop on me, and that's the other reason I don't want them on me. So let's see. Well, I'm putting them in here. And number 4. They get a little nervous, and if I had raised them, they would love for me to be holding them. I could have them all over my arm, but unfortunately, they want to get down, and they think of me as almost like a predator, really. I mean, they're kind of getting used to me, but I don't care that they're wild. That's a good thing. Always better if they're wild. And part of their defense, which you may recall from my talk, is the pooping thing. And so, sure enough, someone did a little pooping over there and trying to scare me away, but it didn't really work. And they're opening their mouths. Oh, that's the other thing that we talked about. So, see, they keep coming from this direction. But like Let's see if they'll do it. No, of course he won't do it. Figures.
I love
They
the
do that.
Any
tail.
names of them?
What?
You have any
Love the
names?
tails wrapping around your fingers there.
Yeah, I know. See,
So cute.
and I might be able to make it. Wait, hold on. No, he's about to. Well, they can kind of hold on. They're a little on the young side, but it's a pretty strong tail. So pretty early on, they don't hang from trees, as you know, but that tail is, getting strong even now. And
Is it a reflexive thing?
yeah, sort of. Yeah, I mean, I put my finger there and they kind of instinctively grab with it. So it's kind of like if you went like that and you might grab with your hands. They do that with their tail. And see, they keep on coming. And then today they're big enough where I'm going to put them I have some cages and I'm probably going to put 5 in one cage and 5 in another for now. And then eventually I'll start putting them, even separating them even more. And probably within about a month, maybe. I have a rehabber friend that has a really big outside cage. I think I'm going to take her up on her offer to take them. And that's a great, get them, an in-between stage, get them acclimated to being in the wild. If I can do that, I do that. I don't always have that opportunity. I don't have outside cages, and she does. So, and it's a wonderful one. It's huge. So that'll be a great thing for her. I mean, for them. And she loves them, so it's a good thing for her. But so they're about. Let's see. I brought a ruler. So I usually try to measure them. I just do eyeball it, but see how they squirm and they don't like being held. Woo-hoo. Yeah, so going on 6 inches. And they're kind of starting to be the age where they could be set free. But us rehabbers don't usually set them free at the smaller 6-inch size. We usually wait till a minimum of like 8 inches or maybe even 10. And they start looking kind of like a big rat. Just quite a bit bigger. It just gives them a better chance to survive. And they're eating on their own at this point. So I give them a little dish with they're still getting formula. They're still, they got a little yogurt, some dog chow, I said yogurt, and then they eat some vegetables, they eat some fruit or raw meat. It's really a balance. And of course, in the wild, they get a really good balance. It's important to try to make a very varied diet for them. Let's see if I can turn the camera. And,
That is one pile of cute.
What's a group of possums called? A term for it?
no, there probably is a type for that.
Uh-oh. Can't hear you.
Can't hear you, Barbara.
You can't hear me?
We couldn't hear you then.
Oh, I was saying, what are they called? Someone asked. Like a group of them. I'm not really sure, actually. I know that sometimes they call them joeys, like like kangaroos. But I don't usually call them that. But so
Apparently it's called a passel.
a passel. Oh, thank you. That was my son. Oh.
A-S-S-E-L. Whatever that means.
You
Yeah,
Googling
there's
it?
always a word for every group of animal. It's hard to keep track of those words.
I call it a posse.
A passel of possums. Wow.
Posse's good.
A posse of possums. So at this stage, like I said, they're leaving their mother. But they may follow the mother around for a while. If they can, they'll still be riding on her back and she'll still be feeding them. And if they get separated, they do that little sneezing sound to call each other. And I don't know, maybe the mother at some point realizes they're old enough. Maybe she doesn't call them anymore. I'm not sure how that works, but obviously they eventually go on their own. Yeah, so he doesn't like me holding them because they're pretty wild. Oh, there goes the mouth. Ah, yeah. Oh, see that defensive mouth?
Cute.
Probably wants to bite. I don't know. I mean, even if they bit, it wouldn't be that, you know. So, anyone have any questions about my friends?
Do you have names for them?
No, I don't name them. I don't name them.
Yeah,
So,
Barb, you said they're 3 months old, but you've only had them for what, a week or something?
yeah, I got them a week ago. Week ago today, I think. It was Memorial Day.
What was
And-
somebody doing with them for those first few months?
No, they were taken off a dead mother
Oh,
by
okay.
a good Samaritan who's watching today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi there.
Well, it's Mike and CJ. They were the rescuers, and they found
Yeah.
the dead mother, and then they found the babies either on the mother or maybe crawling away from her. Quite often,
Right.
they'll just sit on top of the dead mother.
Right,
Or,
but then they kept them
There
for
were
a couple
actually
months.
2 with the mom, and the rest of them had crawled off onto 2 sides of the street and were up in rose bushes. So we were
Oh, wow.
putting the
Oh,
little
that's right.
Oh,
out of the
wow.
bushes in the dark.
I mean, they're amazing. So they were picking these possums out of thorny rose bushes. So there's a lot of really good Samaritans out there. I meet them every year. And for people to care enough about wildlife and, you know, deal with a dead roadkill, which sometimes can be pretty disgusting, and then to save the babies, and, you know, my hat is off to them. I mean, I appreciate it, but I'm sure, you know, they appreciate it.
Thank
Mm.
you for taking
You
them.
know, what's that?
Thank you for taking them. I was just so happy to find somewhere safe for them to be.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem with that.
So do they all have the same pattern? Or do they have different
As
spots
far-
like a cat?
No, they're all pretty close to identical with the only slight differences are their ear markings, and there's some dark tail markings that are sometimes very small differences. And I mean, minute. Sometimes I get possums that their back feet are maybe more fleshy colored, and like these are, see if I get one that's not unhappy with me. You know, because the feet are usually like kind of black
Exciting.
with little like fleshy colored toes. Sometimes the whole foot will look fleshy, but that's kind of unusual. But the answer is they almost always look identical. He does not like me at all.
Then if anybody else has a question, you can click the unmute
Yes,
the lower left of the screen.
yeah, so any questions, here's your chance. I kind of wish I had some younger ones to show you. They're interesting as well when they're kind of, I don't take them if they're what they call pinkies, you know, when they're just flesh colored. They're too young for me to save. There's a few rehabbers out there that have saved them, but it's unusual for them to live. So if they're starting to get black fur on their back and their eyes are like about a week away from opening, they're savable. And they're like maybe 1.5 going on the 2 months before the eyes open. So that's as young as I will take them and be able to save them. So
Here's a
There
question.
was that
from-
time, Barb, though. Barb, when we went to the police station and you actually pulled them out of the dead mother.
oh yeah,
And
Yeah,
you took care of them. They lived.
oh yeah. I mean, they had the dead. Sometimes that happens. I get the whole kit and caboodle, and I get the dead mother, and I get to pull the babies out of the dead mother.
Yeah.
It's you know, just another day
I
at
have
the
a
office.
question.
Here's a question from Sharon.
Okay.
Are they all the same size, or is there a runt?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, they're kind of all the same size, but my experience is that somewhere along the way, especially the bigger the litter, there's always one or two that are a little smaller than the others. I'm still not sure exactly why. If in the wild, would they stay the same size? Or is it a captivity thing where one or two don't quite eat as much? And it's all about if they're eating more, they get bigger. So there always seems to be one or two lagging behind. Is it a runt situation in nature? I'm not even sure about that. It might be. But I almost always see some differences. And sometimes it can be a big, one's this big, and then the sibling, is like half the size, and they don't thrive as much. It's a little bit of a mystery. I'd kind of like to think it's nature's given off some runts, but they start out the same size, and these guys so far are pretty much the same size. I'm starting to see some differences right now. There's one or two that are a little bit smaller.
Here's
So,
another question.
Mhm.
How do you decide where to release them? And do you release them together?
yes. I wouldn't release a bunch of them together. I might release 2 or 3 in the same area and then move to some other area and release a few, and maybe wait another day or a week. Again, for those runs, they might take another week or 2. So I never release a lot of them in one place. A good place is like a nice wooded, like a nature preserve. He's thinking of pooping, so put him
Do you-
down. And they have, like, usually there's a nice little pond or something, some water source, that when they start wandering, they'll have food, and usually at the water, there's maybe some bugs and things they'll find pretty easily. So yeah, wooded, away from the road, obviously, away from populations.
Do you ever, shoot, what's the term? Rehab the mom and the litter? Or do you just separate the litter from the mom?
Ugh,
depending on
Yeah,
age or the tassel, sorry.
yeah.
Litter.
On a
when-
few rare
when they're
occasions.
little litter.
Little. So
Yeah.
the question is, do I sometimes get a mother and rehab both? That has happened a few times, and I learned from experience, unfortunately, that an injured mother, even though it's alive and they're healthy in the mother, you'd want to keep them there because in theory that's better than taking them out and me doing it. And so the injured mother, I have learned through experience, I don't think she takes care of them because of either being in captivity and or she's injured. And so she's all, like frightened and there's pain. And as a result, she's not tending to the pouch. So it's important that she, like licks them and just takes care of them. And if she doesn't, they end up dying and they fall out. So there was a time when I'm like, oh, this will be great. I got the mother and I'm feeding her, but she didn't take care of them and they ended up dying. So a couple of years ago, I had a mother. Can you hear me? Oh, there it goes. So I had a mother and I had to take her babies away because she was very stressed. She ended up like accidentally biting off a tail of one of them. I mean, she just like freaked out or something. She was not being a good mother anymore. Getting pretty old to begin with, so I was able to pluck them off, and I'm not sure what would have happened if I left them with the mother. So the answer is, if I get an injured mother, I'm going to take the babies out, unless they're too young to save. Then you just give it a shot and let her try to, raise them. But
How old will they be
I'm back.
when you release them?
Yeah.
how old will they be when I release them?
Thank you.
They will be probably in the range of about 4 months old. And, they'll have all summer to get used to being in the wild. And then the mothers usually have a second litter in August. And then that's sometimes a, a fall release, but there's still plenty of time before winter. Some rehabbers do some wintering over if they're too small. I mean, I haven't done that for a long time. I really try to release them because it's months and months you're going to be taking care of them. And their short lifespan is, it's short enough. They need to be in the wild.
How did you get to be the abandoned possum go-to?
Well, I am a licensed rehabilitator in the state of Connecticut. So my name is on, and phone number and emails on the Connecticut DEEP website for wildlife. And you look it up by town. First you look up small mammals, and then you'll find people for possums, squirrels, and a few other animals. And that's how they find me. And then if I get contacted, even if they're kind of far away, because I'm like, well, we're too far away, but try to find someone in your area, But sometimes it's just advice. So, you got any more questions? Gonna get another friend here. Oh, did you hear the sound? He hissed. Come on.
I heard it.
Yeah, I wish they liked me. I'd really could put on a show by putting them all over me. That's quite a sight. My family can attest to that. That's quite a sight.
I like
And I
the
look
fact
like-
that they're wild.
What's that?
I like the fact that they're wild, because they're going to
Yeah,
be wild
I do.
eventually.
I do too. Of course, it's always better if they're wild. I mean, it's just part of what happens when I rehab them. When they're younger, when I get them younger, they just think of me sort of as the mother, and they hiss for me and they want to crawl on me. So that's just the nature of the beast, and no pun intended. So
Cute.
getting all the little fluffy gray fur. They're clinging with all four hands. I call them hands, feet.
Because they do look so hand-like.
Yeah, they are kind of like hands. They do look like hands, so. There's a little, my opposable thumb.
Very agile.
Yeah.
Any more
Thank you.
questions?
It's wonderful.
Any more questions?
Well, thank you once again, Barbara.
Oh, anytime.
You've
Yeah,
got
maybe
recorded
next
it.
year. Maybe if I have, real little ones that are, they're quite a bit different, when they're little.
I think people would like it if you got real small ones and were able to show them to us.
Yeah, we could give that a shot some other time.
Opossum.
Opossum, yes.
These are quite tiny, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. They look bigger, Mike and CJ. Looking bigger.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
A bit already in a way.
And they're definitely looking very well.
They look great.
Yeah. They were on heat for a few days. Actually, they were in my little incubator with heat for maybe 3 days, and I kept turning the temperature down, and then they didn't need it, and they kind of keep each other warm as well. So they've been eating on their own.
That's
You
wonderful.
kind of had to feed them for the first few days, and then they are now eating on their own, and everything's been good. So they're not as much trouble.
They're beautiful. Thank you so much.
Oh, and thank you for saving them.
Before you all go, we have another webinar next week on seabirds and forage fish with experts from Audubon, Mystic Aquarium, and others. That'll be on Thursday. We don't have the Zoom information yet, but it'll be on Facebook and our website and in an email to everybody. So be on the lookout for that. And then on June 24th, Eager Beavers with Ginny Apple. And you can
Cool.
sign up for that on our website.
That's great.
Yeah.
This has been a marvelous way to keep in touch.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
No,
Barbara.
I don't need any.
Great show.
Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
so
me
much, Barbara.
again.
They look great.
Like I said, maybe on another day, we'll do it when I have the smaller ones, that's kind of they're kind of different. They're pretty different. They change quickly.
Is that wow?
They look great. All right. Take care. Stay well.
Oh, thanks, Robin.
Bye, Barbara.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Take
Bye.
care, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you very much,
Bye.
Barbara.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, viene.